The sexiest female comic book characters. Emma Frost. Emma Grace Frost is a fictional character appearing in American comic books published by Marvel Comics, most commonly in association with the X-Men. The character first appeared in Uncanny X-Men number 129, January 1980, and was created by writer Chris Claremont and artist/co-writer John Byrne. Emma Frost, also known as the White Queen, has evolved from a supervillain and foe of the X-Men, to becoming a superhero and one of the X-Men's most central members and leaders. Frost belongs to a subspecies of humanity called mutants, who are born with superhuman abilities. She is an urbane telepath with a well-noted, dry wit. The character appears in many adaptations of the X-Men properties, such as video games, animated programs, and live-action films. January Jones portrayed Emma Frost in the 2011 film X-Men: First Class. Other portrayals of the character include actress Finola Hughes in the 1996 film Generation X. Catwoman. Catwoman, Selina Kyle, is a fictional character appearing in American comic books published by DC Comics, commonly in association with the superhero Batman. The character was created by Bob Kane and Bill Finger, and she made her debut in Batman number 1, Spring 1940, in which she is known as the Cat. Catwoman has traditionally been portrayed as a supervillain and adversary of Batman, but since the 1990s, she has been featured in an eponymous series that depicts her as an anti-heroine rather than a traditional villain. Catwoman is known for having a complex love-hate relationship with Batman and has been Batman's most enduring love interest. The original and most widely known Catwoman is Selina Kyle. The character was partially inspired by Kane's cousin, Ruth Steele, as well as actress Jean Harlow. In her first appearance, she was a whip-carrying burglar with a taste for high-stake thefts. For many years the character thrived, but from September 1954 to November 1966 Catwoman took an extended hiatus due to the newly developing Comics Code Authority in 1954. These issues involved the rules regarding the development and portrayal of female characters that were in violation of the Comics Code, a code which is no longer in use. In the comics, 2 other women have adopted the Catwoman identity, apart from Selina: Holly Robinson and Eiko Hasegawa. A popular figure, Catwoman has been featured in most media adaptations related to Batman. Actresses Julie Newmar, Lee Meriwether, and Eartha Kitt introduced her to a large audience on the 1960s Batman television series and the 1966 Batman motion picture. Michelle Pfeiffer portrayed the character in 1992's Batman Returns. Halle Berry starred in a standalone Catwoman film, 2004's Catwoman, which was a critical and commercial flop, and bears little to no resemblance to the Batman character. Anne Hathaway portrayed Selina Kyle in the 2012 film The Dark Knight Rises and, most recently, a young version of Kyle is played by Cameron Bykondova on the 2014 television series, Gotham. Rogue. Rogue is a fictional superhero appearing in American comic books published by Marvel Comics, commonly in association with the X-Men. She debuted in Avengers Annual Number 10, November 1981, as a villain, but then soon after joined the X-Men. Rogue is part of a subspecies of humans called mutants, who are born with superhuman abilities. Rogue has the involuntary ability to absorb and sometimes also remove the memories, physical strength, and superpowers of anyone she touches. Therefore, Rogue considers her powers a curse. For most of her life, she limited her physical contact with others, including her on-off love interest, Gambit, but, after many years, Rogue finally gained full control over her mutant ability. Hailing from the fictional Caldecott County, Mississippi, Rogue is the X-Men's self-described Southern Belle. A runaway, she was adopted by Mystique of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants and grew up as a villain. After Rogue permanently absorbs Ms. Marvel's psyche and Kree powers, she reforms and turns to the X-Men, fearing for her sanity. Rogue's real name and early history were not revealed until nearly 20 years after her introduction. Until the backstory provided by Robert Roddy in the ongoing Rogue series, which began in September 2004, Rogue's background was only hinted at. Her name was revealed as Anna Marie, although her surname is still unknown. She has sometimes adopted the name Raven, which is the first name of her foster mother Mystique. Rogue has been one of the most prominent members of the X-Men since the 1980s. Black Widow. Supergirl is a fictional superheroine appearing in comic books published by DC Comics and related media. The character was created by writer Otto Binder and designed by artist El Plastino. Going by the real name Kara Zor-El, Supergirl is the biological cousin and female counterpart to DC Comics' iconic superhero Superman, created by writer Jerome Siegel and designed by artist Joseph Shuster. The Supergirl character first appeared in a story published in Action Comics number 252, May 1959, titled The Supergirl from Krypton. Since the character's comic book debut, Kara Zor-El's Supergirl has been adapted into various media relating to the Superman franchise, including merchandise, television, and feature film. However, during the 1980s and the revolution of the modern age of comics, Superman editors believed the character's history had become too convoluted, and desired to re-establish Superman as the last son of Krypton. Supergirl was thus killed during the 1985 limited series Crisis on Infinite Earths and reckoned out of existence. In the decades following Crisis, several characters unrelated to Superman used the alias Supergirl. Kara Zor-El re-entered mainstream continuity in 2004 when DC Comics senior vice president and executive editor Dan DiDio, along with editor Eddie Berganza and comic book writer Jeff Loeb, reintroduced the character in the Superman/Batman storyline The Supergirl from Krypton. The title paid homage to the original character's 1959 debut. As the current Supergirl, Kara Zor-El stars in her own monthly comic book series. With DC's 2011 relaunch, Kara, like most of the DC universe, was revamped. Until early 2015, when the title was cancelled, she featured in her own series Supergirl, as well as related comics like Superman. DC will relaunch the Supergirl comic series in August 2016 as part of their DC Rebirth initiative.
Supergirl. Supergirl is a fictional superheroine appearing in comic books published by DC Comics and related media. The character was created by writer Otto Binder and designed by artist El Plastino. Going by the real name Kara Zor-El, Supergirl is the biological cousin and female counterpart to DC Comics' iconic superhero Superman, created by writer Jerome Siegel and designed by artist Joseph Shuster. The Supergirl character first appeared in a story published in Action Comics number 252, May 1959, titled The Supergirl from Krypton. Since the character's comic book debut, Kara Zor-El's Supergirl has been adapted into various media relating to the Superman franchise, including merchandise, television, and feature film. However, during the 1980s and the revolution of the modern age of comics, Superman editors believed the character's history had become too convoluted, and desired to re-establish Superman as the last son of Krypton. Supergirl was thus killed during the 1985 limited series Crisis on Infinite Earths and reckoned out of existence. In the decades following Crisis, several characters unrelated to Superman used the alias Supergirl. Kara Zor-El re-entered mainstream continuity in 2004 when DC Comics senior vice president and executive editor Dan DiDio, along with editor Eddie Berganza and comic book writer Jeff Loeb, reintroduced the character in the Superman/Batman storyline The Supergirl from Krypton. The title paid homage to the original character's 1959 debut. As the current Supergirl, Kara Zor-El stars in her own monthly comic book series. With DC's 2011 relaunch, Kara, like most of the DC universe, was revamped. Until early 2015, when the title was cancelled, she featured in her own series Supergirl, as well as related comics like Superman. DC will relaunch the Supergirl comic series in August 2016 as part of their DC Rebirth initiative.
Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is a fictional superhero appearing in American comic books published by DC Comics. The character is a founding member of the Justice League, demi-goddess, and warrior princess of the Amazons, which are based on the Amazons of Greek mythology. In her homeland, she is Princess Diana of Themyscira, and outside of her homeland, she is known by her secret identity Diana Prince. Wonder Woman was created by the American psychologist and writer William Moulton Marston, with his wife and co-creator Elizabeth Holloway Marston, and artist H.G. Peter. Their cohabitant, Olive Byrne, is credited as being Marston's muse for the iconic character's physical appearance. Marston drew a great deal of inspiration from early feminists, and especially from birth control pioneer Margaret Sanger. The character first appeared in All-Star Comics number 8 in December 1941 and first cover dated on Sensation Comics number 1, January 1942. The Wonder Woman title has been published by DC Comics almost continuously except for a brief hiatus in 1986. Wonder Woman's origin story relates that she was sculpted from clay by her mother Queen Hippolyta, and given life along with superhuman powers as gifts by the Greek gods. However, in recent years she has been depicted as the daughter of Zeus, and jointly raised by her mother Hippolyta and her aunts Antiope and Menelip. Her Amazonian training helped to develop a wide range of extraordinary skills in strategy, hunting, and fighting. She possesses an arsenal of advanced technology, including the Lasso of Truth, a pair of indestructible bracelets, a tiara which serves as a projectile, and, in older stories, a range of devices based on Amazon technology. Although Diana is 5,000 years old, her first exposure to non-Amazon society as Wonder Woman will have only come within the last few 100 years. While the Amazons were originally created to protect man's world, they ultimately abandoned it. Wonder Woman was created during World War II. The character was initially depicted fighting Axis military forces as well as an assortment of colorful supervillains, although over time her stories came to place greater emphasis on characters, deities, and monsters from Greek mythology. Many stories depicted Wonder Woman rescuing herself from bondage, which inverted the damsels in distress trope that were common in comics during the 1940s. In the decades since her debut, Wonder Woman has gained a formidable cast of enemies bent on eliminating the Amazon, including classic villains such as Ares, Hades, Cheetah, Circe, Dr. Psycho, and Gigantap, along with more recent adversaries such as the Firstborn. Wonder Woman has also regularly appeared in comic books featuring the superhero teams Justice Society, from 1941, and Justice League, from 1960. Notable depictions of the character in other media include the 1975-1979 Wonder Woman TV series starring Linda Carter, as well as animated series such as the Super Friends and Justice League. Since Carter's television series, studios struggled to introduce a new live-action Wonder Woman to audiences, although the character continued to feature in a variety of toys and merchandise, as well as animated adaptations of DC properties, including a direct-to-DVD animated feature. Attempts to return Wonder Woman to television have included a television pilot for NBC in 2011, closely followed by another stalled production for the CW. Gal Gadot portrayed Wonder Woman in the 2016 film Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, marking the character's feature film debut after over 70 years of history. Gadot will also star in the character's first solo live-action film Wonder Woman, set to be released on June 2, 2017. On October 21, 2016, the United Nations named Wonder Woman a UN Honorary Ambassador for the Empowerment of Women and Girls in a ceremony attended by Under-Secretary General for Communications and Public Information Christina Gallick and by actors Linda Carter and Gal Gadot, in recognition of her 75th anniversary and role as a worldwide feminist icon. Black Cat. The Black Cat, Felicia Hardy, is a fictional character appearing in American comic books published by Marvel Comics. Created by writer Marv Wolfman and artist Keith Pollard, she first appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man number 194, July 1979. Felicia Hardy is the daughter of a world-renowned cat burglar. After suffering a traumatic event as a college freshman, she trained herself in various fighting styles and acrobatics and, after deciding to follow in her father's footsteps, adopted her costumed identity as the Black Cat. Psylocke. Psylocke, Elizabeth Betsy Braddock, is a fictional superheroine appearing in American comic books published by Marvel Comics, commonly in association with the X-Men. Created by writer Chris Claremont and artist Herb Trimpe in 1976, she first appeared in the Marvel UK series Captain Britain. Betsy was initially a supporting character in the adventures of her twin brother, Captain Britain, even briefly substituting for him in the role, before becoming the mutant superheroine and X-Men member Psylocke in 1986. Originally presented as a precognitive in the pages of Captain Britain and then as a telepath, the character eventually had her mind placed in the body of a Japanese female ninja known as Kwannon, gaining many of Kwannon's martial arts skills and elements of her personality. Psylocke's codename, coined by the X-Men villains Mojo and Spiral, debuted during her introduction to the X-Men stories post Captain Britain. Later, Psylocke acquired the power of telekinesis. Many alternative versions of Psylocke have also appeared in several comic series of Marvel Multiverse, as well as in various other media and merchandise, notably in numerous video games. She briefly appeared in the 2006 film X-Men: The Last Stand, where she was played by Myling Nelankin. Olivia Munn portrays her in the 2016 film X-Men: Apocalypse. Black Canary. Black Canary is a fictional superheroine in comic books published by DC Comics. Created by the writer-artist team of Robert Kanigher and Carmine Infantino, the character debuted in Flash Comics number 86, August 1947. One of DC's earliest superheroines, Black Canary has appeared in many of the company's flagship team-up titles including Justice Society of America and Justice League of America. Since the late 1960s, the character has frequently been paired with Archer superhero Green Arrow professionally and romantically. At her Golden Age debut, Black Canary was the alter ego of Dinah Drake and participated in crime-fighting adventures with her love interest, and eventual husband, Gotham City detective Larry Lance. Initially, the character was a hand-to-hand fighter without superpowers who often posed as a criminal to infiltrate criminal gangs. Later stories depicted her as a world-class martial artist with a superpower, the Canary Cry, a high-powered sonic scream which could shatter objects and incapacitate enemies. When DC Comics adjusted its continuity, Black Canary was established as two separate entities, mother and daughter, Dinah Drake, and Dinah Laurel Lance. Stories since the Silver Age have focused on the younger Black Canary, ascribing her superhuman abilities to a genetic mutation. In 2011, DC Comics again reset its continuity, re-establishing Black Canary as a singular superpowered heroine, Dinah Drake Lance, whose powers derive from experiments involving alien DNA. Black Canary has been adapted into various media, including direct-to-video animated films, video games, and both live-action and animated television series. featuring as a main or recurring character in the shows Birds of Prey, Justice League Unlimited, Smallville, Batman, The Brave and the Bold, Young Justice and Arrow. Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy, Pamela Lillian Isley, is a fictional supervillainess appearing in American comic books published by DC Comics, commonly as an adversary of the superhero Batman. Created by Robert Kanigher and Sheldon Moldoff, the character made her first appearance in Batman number 181, June 1966. Poison Ivy is one of Batman's most enduring enemies and belongs to the collective of adversaries that make up Batman's rogues gallery. Poison Ivy is depicted as one of the world's most notorious eco-terrorists. She is obsessed with plants, botany, ecological extinction, and environmentalism. She uses toxins from plants and mind-controlling pheromones for her criminal activities, which are usually aimed at protecting endangered species and the natural environment. Fellow villain Harley Quinn became her recurring partner in crime. She has proven to be one of Batman's more powerful foes, as she is one of the few members of his rogues gallery to display anything close to superpowers. The character has been portrayed as a love interest for Batman in some comics. In one comic, she was robbing a charity gala Bruce Wayne and Barry Allen were attending. Her first kiss was poison, the second its antidote. When they first meet, her toxic lips planted a seed of toxic rapture in Bruce. But when she later kissed a dying Dark Knight, she unknowingly cured her intended victim and established a budding romantic tension between them. Creator Robert Kanigher modeled Poison Ivy after Betty Page, giving her the same haircut and southern drawl as Page. In her first appearances in 1966, no origin was developed. She was merely a temptress. When she first arrived in Gotham City, her costume was a one-piece, strapless green bathing suit, covered with leaves. Leaves also formed her bracelets, necklace, and crown. She wore green high heels and yellow-green nylon stockings with leaves painted on them. These particulars changed somewhat when she reappeared. Poison Ivy was promoted after the rise of feminism pointed out the need for a greater number of more independent female villains in the series. She was also used to replace the increasingly sympathetic Catwoman as a clearly antagonistic female supervillain foil for Batman, and then made further appearances in the Batman comic book series and in Suicide Squad. The second, reconned origin story provided for her by Neil Gaiman in the late 1980s linked her to Swamp Thing and his original Black Orchid as a human-plant hybrid. She has since appeared in starring roles in Gotham City Sirens and Birds of Prey. The character was portrayed by Uma Thurman in Batman and Robin, and was voiced by Diane Pershing in Batman, the animated series. A significantly teenaged version was voiced by Piera Coppola on The Batman, and a completely revamped incarnation has been voiced by Tasha Valenza in the Batman Arkham video game franchise, each nevertheless proving to be one of the most powerful criminals. Yeah.